You might assume paid family leave after having a baby is a basic right in California, but tonight CBS 13 investigates why many public employees aren't entitled to a dime.
So CBS 13 investigator Julie Watts sat down with Governor Newsom to ask what he can do to help the hundreds of thousands who are left out. And Julie, this is all at a time when the governor is expanding paid leave.
That's right. The governor's proposed budget expands paid family leave by 2 additional weeks for each parent. That's up to 4 months total with no new taxes or impact to the budget. But despite the landmark proposal, we've learned many new parents who need this paid leave the most still won't get any of it.
The drive here, she was like screaming. I'm like, it's okay.
What began as a show and tell for elementary school teacher Emily Price turned into a bit of a life lesson with fellow teachers on the surprising reality of having a baby when you're a public employee.
People are surprised and people just think, oh, you're out on maternity leave, getting paid to like take care of your baby. It's like, nope, not really. Like, ran out of pay a while ago.
Like hundreds of thousands in California, including state workers, firefighters, CHP officers, teachers are among the public employees not entitled to state maternity benefits or paid family leave.
You're hungry, I know.
Instead, Emily had to use up all her sick and vacation time, which didn't last long because baby came late.
I basically burned through my paid days before she was born.
Most Californians are entitled to 6 to 8 weeks of disability pay, allowing moms to physically recover after birth, and another 6 weeks of baby bonding for moms, dads, and adoptive parents. It's paid for by that 1% disability tax on your paycheck, entitling you to 60 to 70% of your pay while on leave.
Babies are really expensive.
But public employees are exempt from disability insurance. They don't pay into the fund, but they also can't collect when or if they need it. Many, like CAL FIRE, public safety employees, and others, only have access to saved up vacation and sick time. The rest of their leave is unpaid.
Deep breath, man.
Teachers, like Emily, also get differential pay after sick days are exhausted, but the difference between their salary and what the district pays their sub isn't much.
So look, the goal is 6 months.
Paid family leave is a marquee issue for Governor Newsom. His proposed budget would extend paid leave an extra 2 weeks next year with a long-term goal of 6 months total. But while it will extend the amount of time for most, it won't guarantee any paid time for public employees.
There are hundreds of thousands of Californians who are not entitled to this leave at all right now. How is that possible?
It's possible because they haven't bargained for it. It's not an excuse. It just hasn't been a high enough priority.
He explains paid leave is something the unions must bargain for or vote to contribute 1% of every member's paycheck. A tough sell for many male-dominated unions whose members aren't necessarily planning on having kids, leaving the new parents among them to fend for themselves since they can't individually opt in. CBS 13 uncovered an estimated 95,000 state employees whose unions have not bargained for this right, along with an unknown number of city, county, special district, and federal employees, and the majority of the more than 300,000 California teachers whose unions say they simply can't afford to bargain for the right.
They feel that there are bigger fish to fry.
Brian Haw represents dozens of teachers and other unions, and he notes their negotiations are dominated by issues like pay and class size. Paid family leave usually gets bargained away.
The truth of the matter is they're not doing this because it only affects a small number of employees.
So why not just allow, though, individuals to opt in without the rest of their union?
Let's look at the costs. Let's look at where the unions are.
But unions aside, many feel everyone should have the same access.
Whether or not leave is protected or not, and whether it's paid or not, it all depends on who you work for.
Assemblymember Gonzalez recently reintroduced a bill that would require school districts to pay a teacher's full salary for just the first 6 to 8 week disability period after having a baby. But she acknowledges the proposed fix still leaves many who individually may want to pay for the benefits, but can't.
It's a much bigger problem. Like, I'm dealing with teachers. There's a teacher shortage. We're talking about an overwhelming workforce that's women, but even the governor's office is like, it's a bigger problem. I said, I know it is.
So just to be clear, there's nothing that you as the governor can do to basically allow anybody who wants to opt into disability insurance to do that?
Well, there's a lot the governor can do, and we're pursuing that, and every day we're pursuing more of that.
In the meantime, Emily's sick days are gone. She's now struggling to get by on differential pay. But she is better off than many state workers who still don't get a dime.
Now, the governor tells us he has 7 open union contracts right now and says he will now address these issues during bargaining moving forward. He also put together a working group of what he calls some of the best minds in the country. They are tasked with figuring out how to expand paid leave even more.
Such an important issue for so many families here in California and abroad.
It sure is.
Julie, thanks.